And members of the Nubian community in Kisii, who number about 3,500, are demanding that the Kenyan government gives them citizenship so that they can participate in the forthcoming general elections.
Now, speaking to Citizen TV, the elderly members of the community revealed challenges they face that include lack of birth certificates, identity cards, and employment opportunities, despite acquiring education. Nimrod Taabu reports on the unfortunate situation the Nubian community finds itself despite their forefathers arriving in the country as early as 1938.
For several decades, the Nubian community living in Kisii has had to live with the fact that they are unrecognizable in Kenyan law. Elders of the Nubian community who recall that their forefathers arrived here as early as 1938 narrated their plight to Citizen TV. Here, they are commonly referred to as others.
Sisi tunakaa kama watu ambao wamesaulika. Tunaitwa saa zingine others, others hawa. Mnaishi nini hapa? Si muende kwenu. Sasa tujui kwetu ni wapi.
The Nubian community in Kisii is found in the middle of Nyanchwa Estate, about 5 kilometers west of Kisii town. They live in abject poverty and they mostly keep to themselves, as do the neighboring communities. This community can hardly move out of this village for fear of being victimized or evicted.
Tuna shamba, tunanyang'anywa shamba kidogo ndogo hii yote. Sisi tunakaa tu.
Kenya ilipata uhuru, sisi tukue hapa basi, na wale wazee yetu wote wakaanza wakafariki, na hata wale watoto yao wengine wakafariki. Sisi ndio sasa tumebaki hapa kama wale wazee.
Despite living in this area for decades, none of the community members here enjoys land ownership. Because they are not recognized as citizens of Kenya, they are squatters.
Hata saa ingine tunalala na njaa. Hakuna kitu. Sasa mimi sijui serikali kwa nini afikirii mambo ya wanubi Islamu ambayo wako Kisii. Kiona makao tunaishi kwa shida.
According to history, Nubians in Kenya were brought by British colonialists from their homeland Juba in South Sudan sometime during World War II. After independence, some went back. Many others stayed behind. In Kisii, the Nubian community has approximately 3,500 persons aching a livelihood, but they are a miserable lot. New mothers from this community cannot register their young ones at birth.
Mtu akizaliwa lazima anapewa nini? Anapewa birth. Lakini wake wetu, watoto wetu wakienda wanaambiwa others. So si understand kina others ni nani kwa hii country. Mababu na mababu zetu walikuja hii Kenya, walikuwa tangu wakati ya British. Lakini saa hizi tunasumbuliwa. By the way tunahangaika.
Na mimi niko na wife, na niko na watoto. Hata watoto wangu ndo hao hapa hivi. Niko naomba serikali tujalie bana tukue na ID. Na mimi niko na 35 years. Sina ID. Niko naomba tu serikali. Hata birth certificate sasa ndo ngumu sasa. Hata ukienda hapa hivi county, birth certificate sasa ndo ngumu sana.
Zena Balala, who is 60 years old, says this is where she was born. Her forefathers too lived here. However, discrimination and underdevelopment is giving them sleepless nights. Some of the challenges Zena has grown up with include difficulties in processing Kenyan documents, as she is forced to swear an affidavit in order to move around or acquire services.
Mtu akikufukuza na kuambia enda kwenu, hapa sio kwenu. Nini maadha si hawa? Wacha serikali atuone. Serikali atuone sisi maadha sio tutafanyiwa aje. Ni nini? Ndio serikali atatuambia tutafanya. Ama serikali watembea waje waone tuko aje.
The youth from this community are a desperate lot. After completing school and even university studies, none of them can apply for a job they qualify for because of lack of identification cards. For several years now, they have taken steps to petition the Kenyan government to grant them recognition and identity so that they can earn a living, own land, work and move from one area to another as other Kenyans. But so far, they have been unlucky.
Na hawa vile vile wenye wamefika miaka 18 wanatakana wapate kitambulisho. hata waweze kusafiri nchi ya nje, waende watafute kazi.
Nubians, we have a very unique name. And I don't see the reason why the Nubians are supposed to be vetted, kwa sababu ukiona jina kama for a Nubian, Mohammed is Muhammad. So it's different. It's very easy for the government to identify the non-Nubian and a Nubian. But the moment they subject us, like treating us like the other tribes who have the similar names to us, wanakuwa wanatukosea kama wanakijiji na inatupatia uzito sana kwa processing ya ID.
Even demonstrations by the few brave community members have not triggered any efforts by government to have them enjoy their rights. Because of the situation they find themselves in, this community cannot build permanent structures. As a result, they live in squalid conditions. With the August 9 general elections fast approaching, this community fears that, as has been the case in the past, they will be left out of the crucial vote.
Na saa hii tunaelekea kupiga kura. Sisi tunaomba serikali watuone, watuangalie na watushughulike kama Wakenya wengine wa kawaida.
Sasa sisi tulibaki hapa, wazungu walienda wakatuacha hapa. Hatujui mali ya kwenda sasa. Sisi tunajua tu hapa ndio sasa ni kwetu.
In Kenya, the Registration of Persons Act states that every person applying for registration shall, whenever possible, do so at his place of domicile or at his place of permanent residence, and not where a person attends before a registration officer for the purpose of having himself registered under Section 6(2) of the Act. The registration officer shall demand proof of date of birth or apparent age by production of the birth certificate or age assessment certificate issued by a government medical officer of health or a baptismal certificate issued by a minister of a recognized religious organization immediately following birth or some other evidence acceptable to the principal registrar. Citizen TV has made several attempts to get a brief from the County Commissioner of Kisii concerning the plight of this Nubian community, but the efforts have been futile. At the moment, the law in Kenya states that a person who has been married to a Kenyan citizen for a period of at least 7 years is entitled on application to be registered as a citizen. Secondly, a person who has been a lawful resident in Kenya for a continuous period of at least 7 years and who satisfies the conditions prescribed by an Act of Parliament may apply to be registered as a citizen. Also, a child who is not a citizen but is adopted by a Kenyan citizen is entitled on application to be registered as a citizen, but Parliament shall enact legislation establishing conditions on which citizenship may be granted to such individuals. In March last year, the Member of Parliament for Kibra, Imran Okoth, tabled a petition in Parliament on behalf of Nubians residing in Kenya and urged the government to stop discriminating the community. The petition stated that the National Population Census 2019, conducted by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, placed Nubians at a total of 21,319 countrywide. Demographically, this limits the community's ability to even elect representatives in county governments. The petition also stated that Nubian children are unable to join institutions of higher learning and access government funding due to delays in issuance of ID cards, owing to the cumbersome vetting process. Additionally, access to good education has been a hindrance to the prosperity of the community. Despite being a marginalized and minority community, the government has not implemented any affirmative actions to ensure active participation of community members with regard to employment, public participation in social, economic and political issues, and access to water, health, as well as infrastructure. To date, the Nubian community is not listed in any government portal with regard to application for civil service recognition. Nimrod Taabu, Citizen TV.